In the unforgiving ecosystem of modern social hierarchies, manipulators do not select their victims at random. They run a silent, invisible diagnostic on every single person who enters the room. A highly classified psychological scanning system is actively being used against you by covert narcissists to test your biological boundaries. And if you are completely unaware of it, you have already failed. They are biological parasites, but a parasite cannot attach itself to a host with thick armor. They must find the exact point of weakness. Their scan is designed to hack your evolutionary desire to belong to the tribe. Thousands of years ago, human survival depended entirely on social cohesion. If you caused friction in the tribe, you were exiled, and exile meant immediate death. The window to decode this behavioral matrix is rapidly closing. The elite top 1% have heavily guarded this predatory framework to maintain their monopoly on power dynamics. And if you ignore this leaked data today, you guarantee your own permanent psychological exploitation tomorrow. By the exact end of this video, you will possess the precise blueprint to intercept their silent tests, protect your central nervous system, and project a dangerously untouchable aura in any environment. The silent test is not an exam you take with paper and pen. It is a biological audit of your nervous system that happens in the first 3 seconds of a social interaction. Human behavior is driven by ancient survival mechanisms, and predators are biologically wired to seek out the path of least resistance. When a covert manipulator meets you, they are not listening to your words. They are aggressively scanning your microexpressions, your breathing patterns, and your physical posture. They drop tiny, almost imperceptible pieces of bait to see if your fragile ego will bite. They might intentionally mispronounce your name, give you a slightly backhanded compliment, or physically step a fraction of an inch too close into your personal space. If you smile nervously, if you brush it off to avoid conflict, or if you physically shrink back, the scan is complete. You failed the test. You have just been permanently categorized as easy prey at the absolute bottom of the social hierarchy. Human behavior behind the predator's scan. To defeat the scan, we must dissect the human behavior driving the predator's mind. Covert manipulators and dark triad personalities operate on a severe deficit of internal energy. They do not possess a self-sustaining emotional core, which means they must constantly harvest validation, control, and reaction from the people around them. Today, predators weaponize that ancient fear against you. They know that your limbic system is terrified of being disliked, so they deploy the silent scan. They create an artificial moment of social tension, a heavy silence, a delayed response to a question, or a cold stare. They are watching to see if your biological fear of rejection will force you to break the silence first. The moment you rush to fill the quiet air with nervous chatter, over-explanations, or desperate attempts to make them smile, you expose your entire operating system. You reveal that your emotional state is completely dependent on their external validation. The predator's scan is mathematically flawless because it does not rely on logic. It relies on your unhealed primal trauma. Every time you prioritize fake social harmony over your own boundaries, you feed the parasite. How social hierarchies expose your weak boundaries. Social hierarchies are not arbitrary. They are ruthless constructs of power dynamics. In any group setting, status is continuously negotiated without a single word being spoken. Manipulators use group environments to amplify the pressure of their silent tests because they know your boundaries are mathematically weakest when you have an audience. The predator will execute a subtle public test. They will interrupt you mid-sentence during a conversation, or they will make a joke at your expense disguised as friendly banter. This is not an accident. This is a highly calculated calibration test. The entire social hierarchy pauses to watch your reaction. If you freeze, force a fake laugh, and allow them to steal the spotlight, you are confirming your biological submission to the entire group. The predator has successfully established dominance, and your social status bleeds out onto the floor. Weak boundaries are impossible to hide in a hierarchy. When you physically pivot your body toward whoever speaks the loudest, or when you automatically break eye contact the moment someone challenges your opinion, your body language is screaming that you are a subordinate. You believe you are just being polite and adaptable. The predator sees a nervous puppet begging for the strings to be pulled. The silent test exposes the fatal flaw in your behavioral matrix. You are willing to abandon your own reality just to remain comfortable in the group. The biological trap of fake social harmony. The most dangerous illusion keeping you in the prey category is the biological trap of fake social harmony. Society has systematically programmed you to believe that avoiding conflict makes you a mature, morally superior person. This is a devastating lie designed to keep you docile. In the realm of dark psychology, the desperate pursuit of peace at any cost is the ultimate indicator of a fragile ego. When you refuse to call out a manipulator's silent test because you do not want to ruin the vibe or create awkwardness, you are trading your long-term psychological power for short-term emotional relief. This fake harmony is exactly the environment where parasites thrive. They rely on your silence. They bank on the mathematical probability that your fear of confrontation is stronger than your self-respect. When they subtly disrespect your time by showing up an hour late without an apology, and you respond with no worries, it's fine, you are completely reinforcing their toxic behavior. You are not keeping the peace. You are actively funding their disrespect. The biological cost of maintaining fake harmony is catastrophic. Your cortisol levels spike, your internal resentment builds, and your self-esteem slowly rots from the inside out. You become a hollow shell, exhausted from constantly performing the role of the accommodating victim. The predator scans for this exact profile, the individual who will silently swallow abuse just to keep a fake smile on their face. Stop exactly what you are doing. The specific scanning technique I'm about to reveal is currently being used by someone in your inner circle to drain your social status right now. If you fail to decode this specific behavioral trap in the next 60 seconds, your boundaries will be permanently erased. Pay absolute attention. How manipulators test your power dynamics. To survive in the top tier of social hierarchies, you must understand the exact mechanics of how manipulators test your power dynamics. They execute this through a strategy known as the boundary creep. It begins with microscopic infractions. A predator will ask you for a very small, seemingly insignificant favor that slightly inconveniences you. A task that is technically not your job, or a request that forces you to alter your schedule. This is not about the favor itself. This is a biological ping. They are testing the sonar. If you agree out of guilt or politeness, the ping returns a positive signal. The system registers a vulnerability. Once they know you cannot say no to the small things, they systematically escalate the pressure. The favors become larger. The jokes become more insulting. The disrespect becomes more blatant. The predator is slowly moving the goalposts of your reality, testing exactly how much abuse your nervous system will tolerate before it breaks. Another lethal test is the selective amnesia protocol. They will promise you something or agree to a certain rule and then conveniently forget it happened. When you try to remind them, they watch your reaction. If you back down immediately and doubt your own memory because they feign ignorance, they realize they can successfully gaslight you. They have hacked your perception of reality. You failed the scan because you trusted their manufactured confusion over your own concrete memory. The reason the elite top 1% completely dominate social dynamics is that they possess an impenetrable defense against the silent scan. Elite operators never fail this test because they do not operate on the frequency of a people pleaser. They have ruthlessly purged the biological need for external validation from their nervous system. When a manipulator attempts to drop a subtle insult or a silent test, the elite operator does not rush to fix the tension. They do not laugh nervously. They do not offer a defensive explanation. They execute the most terrifying response in human behavior: absolute, unblinking stillness. They let the awkwardness hang in the air like a physical weight. They force the predator to sit in the uncomfortable silence of their own disrespect. Elite operators understand that whoever breaks the silence first loses the power dynamic. By remaining completely neutral and unaffected, the elite operator inverses the scan. The manipulator's brain suddenly short-circuits. They expected fear, they received a void. They expected compliance, they hit a concrete wall. This cold observation proves to the predator that their psychological tricks are useless. The elite do not fight back emotionally because anger is just another form of submission. Instead, they offer boring, sovereign indifference. They pass the test because they refuse to participate in the game. You are standing at the point of no return. The psychological armor I am about to hand you is the only thing capable of blinding the predator's radar. If you click off this video before mastering this exact behavioral shift, you will wake up tomorrow and fail the scan again. Do not blink. To permanently blind the predator's scan, you must reconstruct your biological presence and build an untouchable aura in any room. An untouchable aura is not created by being loud, aggressive, or arrogant. It is engineered through the absolute mastery of your physical and emotional frequency. You must drastically slow down your biological rhythm. Weak targets move quickly, they nod rapidly, they speak fast, and they physically dart around to avoid taking up space. You must do the exact opposite. Slow down your breathing. Move your hands with deliberate, calculated intention. When someone asks you a question, do not immediately rush to answer. Take a 2-second pause. Let the silence build. That micropause commands massive respect and signals that your words are valuable. Your eye contact must become a weapon of observation, not a plea for connection. When you look at people, do not scan their faces looking for approval. Look at them as if you are collecting data. If someone attempts a silent dominance test, hold their gaze without altering your facial expression. Let your eyes go slightly dead. Dangerous aura is born from unpredictability. When manipulators realize they cannot read your emotional state, their limbic system panics. They categorize you as a high-risk entity and immediately abort the scan. You become a biological fortress. You no longer project the frequency of prey. You project the quiet, terrifying stillness of the apex predator. How to reclaim your social status today. The era of being quietly scanned, tested, and manipulated ends this exact second. Reclaiming your social status requires the immediate, ruthless execution of these behavioral laws. You must accept the brutal reality that protecting your power dynamics will make you highly unpopular with the parasites who used to feed on your weakness. Let them be angry. Let them accuse you of being cold or changed. Their frustration is the ultimate proof that your new psychological armor is working perfectly. From today forward, you will never rush to fill a silent void. You will never apologize for occupying physical space. When the predator drops their next subtle insult, you will not smile. You will stop, look them directly in the eye, and let the unbearable tension crush their ego. The classified behavioral matrix has been exposed, and the exact blueprint to pass the silent test is now hardwired into your brain. Theory without execution is the definition of biological cowardice. If you return to your polite, accommodating habits tomorrow, you have actively volunteered to be prey. If you are ready to hold the void, protect your energy, and reclaim your ultimate social power, subscribe and hit the bell immediately. We are arming the elite. Break the scan. Master the silence. Become completely untouchable.